Awesome. So great. Thank you so much. And I'm going to, I'll wait to share my screen, but ultimately will share my screen as I'm taking notes so folks are comfortable with how that's happening. And so Ed Tarasiev. Oh, Ed, I also, all the vowels in your name. I just want to say that there are days where I feel like I get it right. You will let me know if I don't have it right. And I love your name in all of its way. And then Sherry Flummerfeld, we will also do, that all sounds great.
I definitely saw several hook and line guys on the call, so I get the point.
Yeah. Well, we'll just be patient and welcome them. Sherry, do you know Ed? Ed, do you know Sherry?
No, I don't.
No, I don't. Hi, Ed.
How you doing, Sherry? How are you?
Good. Where are you?
I'm in San Francisco.
You're in San Francisco? Okay. I'm with the Monterey Bay Fisheries Trust.
Gotcha.
You had a nice article about your organization in the Herald last week, Sherry.
Yeah, that was nice. That was
I believe they quoted you. Yes.
Yeah, they did. That was for the community, the seafood donation program. So that was cool. Meals.
Maybe this week. I can't remember. I think it was earlier.
Yeah, it was a couple days ago, actually.
Yes, right. That's great.
So Sherry, what's your interest in the fishery?
In the halibut fishery?
Well, the hook and line aspect.
Well, the hook. Yeah, I was debating. I was going to be probably put into the NGO room, but I really actually want to hear from the hook and line guys to hear what their concerns are. And just, I work with, I've been trying to spread the word about this meeting, and that's the basic interest. I work with the local fleet, and I want to hear their concerns, and so that I have a better pulse on where they're at. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Everyone, so we have Eric and Chris and Amanda who's joined that I'm not quite sure if it's Amanda, and welcome you to say hello, the AKA Amanda.
Yeah, my name's Lucas Mullaney.
Hey Lucas, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Fine, thank you.
Good. And we have Paul who's here as well, and appreciating that CO is driving, so we want to be very gentle and not hurt yourself at all, and at the appropriate time you can introduce yourself, and that will be great. We also have, we'll go around the room actually and just ask folks to say hello. And it's great to have a few more people joining. Oh, great, Jeff. And then I'll add the name for the phone number in just a moment. So let's start with some introductions. We can go around the room and introduce ourselves. It'd be great, just sort of name, affiliation, or however long you've been in the halibut fishery, and anything else you want to share is welcomed. Lucas, do you want to start us off?
Sure. My name's Lucas Mullaney. I fish commercial hook and line out of San Francisco Bay. Pretty much my sole income for the last 5 years.
Thank you so much. Paul, are you open to going next?
Certainly, yes. So I'm Paul Reilly. I'm a senior environmental scientist with the Department of Fish and Wildlife. I'm based out of Monterey, and I've worked with many fisheries in my long career, and I worked with halibut in the last 14 years. I worked directly with Christine Lacena, who is today giving birth to her first child as we speak, we think,
right, Christine.
And Travis Tanaka in Monterey. So those are my local staff who work with halibut. And one of the things I do is to age halibut, aging with Travis, the otoliths that our samplers collect throughout the state. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks, Paul. Chris, are you open to saying hello?
Yeah, hi. I'm Chris Pavone. I'm the president of the Port San Luis Commercial Fishermen's Association. I also have the deeper nearshore and both the rockfish permits. I do hook and line.
Fantastic. Thanks, Chris. Happy to have you. CO, are you open to introducing yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Chris Pereira. I been here at halibut hook and line for about 7 years now. I'm parked, by the way, so.
Oh, so great. We love safety all the way. So great. Fantastic. And sorry, what port were you out of?
I'm SF Bay.
Awesome. Thank you.
Alameda.
Yep. So great. Thank you. Eric?
Hi, Eric McKee. I'm from Santa Cruz. Been fishing hook and line for better part of 20 years. It's not the sole income, but it does provide a substantial amount of income for my yearly. Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe I could invite Jeff Darley. Jeff, are you there with us? Yeah, please.
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I had to unmute.
No, take your time.
Yeah, my name's Jeff Darley. I fish hook and line, usually rockfish, near shore and deeper out of Port San Luis, and been fishing a couple of years.
Awesome. Welcome. Thank you. Let's try Paul. I want to make sure I'm saying it right. Schuler? Sorry if I'm saying it wrong.
Schuyler. Maybe Schuyler?
Schuyler? I'm sorry, Paul, if I'm saying it wrong. You can correct me. Just going to ask you to unmute. There should be something that pops up that says, yes, I would love to be unmuted. Okay, we'll give Paul a moment there. Bill, are you open to coming through?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, Bill, we can. Please go right ahead.
I'm just participating and listening. I used to do this quite a bit back in the day, and just wanting to see what's going on now and how the guys are thinking about it now.
Welcome. And can I ask geographically where you're located or maybe where you fished in the past?
Port San Luis, out of Port San Luis.
Got it. That's awesome. Thanks, Bill. Welcome. All right, so just going to continue around the room.
Thank you.
Oh, please, Paul, are you there? Okay, we'll continue to welcome Paul when he's able to come through. Justin?
Oh, yeah, I got in here. Thank you.
Oh, great. Do you mind just introducing yourself, maybe how long you've been in the fishery, what port you're out of? That would be awesome.
I have two boats. I'm out of San Francisco. Been since about 2014.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
No.
Thank you. Yeah, no, so great. I'm just looking at my list here. So I'd love to check in with Ed Tabasiev.
I'm a hook and line fisherman out of San Francisco Bay. I've been doing it for 40 plus years. I also fish commercial salmon, commercial crabs. Been doing it for a long time.
Thanks, Eddie. And I'll come to the phone numbers in just a moment. I've got two more. Michael's Galaxy Note. Sounds like you're on a beautiful planet somewhere. Well, I guess we are. Michael, are you there? Let me try and unmute you. Are you able to come through? Okay. We'll give Michael a little bit of time. Sherry, would you like to introduce yourself? Oh, Sherry, you're on mute if you're wanting to be heard.
Yes, I was. I'm Sherry Blummerfelt with the Monterey Bay Fisheries Trust, and I work with the local hook and line fleet.
Thank you. There's a number ending in 2053. Would welcome you to introduce yourself.
Yes, Michael Kenny, Santa Barbara, commercial fishing, commercial diving, aquaculture, 40 years. Everywhere on the West Coast you can just about think of.
Thank you, Michael. Welcome. And there's another phone number ending in 3644. Okay. No pressure at all to come through. Again, Paul Schuyler. Oh gosh, sorry. I think Paul Reilly helped me with that more. Oh yeah. Are you there, 3644? It also might be 0022. Is there a phone number who just came on 0022?
Correct, it's Jeremy.
I'm sorry, what was your name?
My name is Jeremy Stride.
Hi, Jeremy. Would you be open to sharing what port you are operating out of and how long you've been in the fishery?
I'm a buyer and I operate out of Santa Cruz, but I cover from Fort Bragg to Santa Barbara.
Fantastic. Thanks, Jeremy. All right, I think we've gone around the room. For those that are on the phone, we would really appreciate it if you could just mute your phone manually, because I just don't want to get into a situation where I mute you and then it's tough to unmute. So that would be my request. My name is Kelly, part of the facilitation team here to be supportive. And I think without further ado, maybe I'll just check in. Is there anyone who hasn't introduced themselves who would like to? Fantastic. Paul, Paul Reilly, would you be open to starting to sort of move us through the questions? And I would love nothing more than to be supportive as we go.
Yes, I will do that, Kelly. So we have 4 questions, and we'd like to give about 10 minutes to each one. These are the same questions, except for -1 that we asked with the recreational fishery webinar last month. And this is for you to help us in understanding the fishery and how you relate to it and how you participate in it. And I don't want to talk much for the rest of the time, but the questions I'm just going to read as they're part of your agenda. And the first one is based on the definition within the MLMA. What does sustainability mean to you? It's actually a 2-part question. So do you think halibut is a sustainable fishery? And that's not just a yes or no question. We'd like to hear your reasons for why you think so. So anyone can start, and I appreciate your participation in this, believe me.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Paul. We'll open the lines up. Anyone who'd like to contribute here, I just want to honor that we had Jason Collins come through. Jason, I don't know if you want to introduce yourself briefly.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Yeah, my name's Jason Collins. I've been involved in the hook and line halibut fishery since '99, and I live in Santa Cruz and fish out of Santa Cruz mostly. So it's a big part of my income. And so I want to be as involved as possible in any kind of managing of this fishery.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Jason. And then there was also someone that just says iPhone. Looks like you're in a car. You've got sunglasses on. Not to call you out, but would love to say hello.
Hi, I'm Chris Franks, commercial halibut fisherman, and I own Hook to Table.
Fantastic. And can I ask where you're operating out of?
I'm out of Marin County.
Awesome. Fantastic. Okay, perfect. So just circling back. Oh, stop it. We are embracing our ground rules here together and agreements. We are going to love all of the people from all the places together as one. So just to acknowledge that Paul just asked this question based on the definition within the Marine Life Management Act. What does sustainability mean to you? And based on your experience, can you explain a bit what, if, is the California halibut a sustainable fishery? And if so, why? If not, why? Anybody want to kick us off?
Yeah, I'll start it, Kelly. Can you hear me?
Thank you, Ed. Go ahead, please.
Please go right ahead.
I mean, looking at the MLMA definition of sustainability, I agree with that. That's something that can be supported and continue on being a viable fishery, but also in the shorter term, can I keep going fishing and making a living? As I see from past history and landings, it fluctuates, obviously, but the fishery overall is sustainable. It's proven itself through the years. My more pressing concern is what is it going to look like in the future? Because there are a lot of different regulations and changes coming that could change the sustainability of this particular fishery. I guess we can get into that later.
Well, I just want to say one thing about your statement about regulations coming. We don't know what's coming. We have not decided upon any new regulations. We have quite a few right now, as all of you know, and they're good ones. The basic one with the minimum size, that's been in effect for 50 years, approximately.
I understand that, Paul.
And now we have relatively new marine protected areas, some of which have soft bottom and protect halibut from being caught. There's a fairly large one down off of Vandenberg Air Force Base. That's the biggest one with soft bottom habitat. And we have the gill net and trawl restrictions, of course, in certain areas. And so we have quite a few right now, and they've been good ones, in my opinion. And you're right, we have fluctuations in landings. And but as far as what's coming in the future, this is why we're having these conversations right now. We have not decided on anything as far as regulatory changes, and we're not really talking about them today, as you know. Thank you very much. I appreciate your comment.
I think more specifically what I was talking about was shift of effort from other fisheries that I'm specifically looking at. Salmon is going to look like it's not going to be doing too good in the future. And what's the shift of effort going to look like when the salmon fleet starts looking at halibut as its next priority? That was more what I had in mind when I was thinking about changing in regulations, like closed seasons for salmon, which looks pretty sure it's going to happen given the drought conditions that we're in and the status of the salmon fishery overall at the current time.
And we did have that happen before, as I recall. I'm sure you recall, back in early 2000s when halibut was closed, and we had an uptick in landings because of people getting
salmon closed.
Right, the salmon closure, yes. And so halibut landings increased in that year because of shifted effort. So it's not something that's new, and we hope the fishery can absorb the extra effort. It has in the past, and we had good year classes coming through, as we again saw in the recent couple of years. So that's a good observation, though. Thank you, Ed.
I was curious what 3030 might do, bringing more MPAs and MLPAs into that as well.
Thanks for that. So maybe what I'll do is I'll just acknowledge that here I am taking notes for those of you that aren't on the phone and on Zoom. You'll be able to see this. For question 1, I'll be taking notes and then helping to report out afterwards. So really hearing the concerns about 30 by 30 and, potential or concerns about expansion or sort of changes to MPAs in California. Got it. Other thoughts that folks have on the sustainability of the fishery and what that means to you?
Yes.
Please.
Okay, it's Michael Kenny, Santa Barbara. My understanding so far, and I wish I was more engaged. I've been my head down in remodeling a boat for about 2 years. Anyways, longtime fisherman, commercial fisherman. That's pretty much all I do: commercial fishing and diving. I have most of my life. My understanding so far, from the consensus I get from my fellow fishermen, is this issue is more about managing market and privilege than it is actually managing our biomass. It seems as though, to me right now, our biomass is in really good shape. And, this is more about proprietary fishing privileges than it is, or the lack of those, depending on who's engaged in the fishery currently and whatever target period that there will inevitably be. And I guarantee you that's probably what's going to happen. More than anything, I think that most of us are just, more concerned about our access to the biomass and the fish to be able to, not be cut out of yet again another fishery or yet again another area or a MPA or wind farms or whatever else it may be coming down the line for us. So that's my understanding, and maybe you can clarify.
Okay, Michael, as far as MPAs and wind farms, and regarding the previous comment, nobody has said to me that there's going to be an increase in marine protected areas because of the 3030 legislation, and we're still evaluating the ones that were implemented in the 2007 to 2012 period.
Yeah,
and,
but also I got to interject. There's also nobody saying that there won't be. You follow what I'm saying? You're saying that, I'm sorry for interrupting, but you're very accurate. Nobody is saying that there would be more NPAs or whatever you want to call them, preserves, but nobody at the same time is saying that there won't be, because lack of discussion that they're not discussing that, hey guys, don't worry about it, there won't be, isn't happening, doesn't necessarily, inspire trust amongst research users.
Okay, those are good points.
Yeah. I had a question.
Hold on 1 second. I'm so sorry. I just want to acknowledge that there was a hand raised, and
Sorry.
it's on. No, that's okay. Chris, did you want to come through?
Yeah, sure. To add off of what the last gentleman just said, I'm a hook and line rockfish guy, but we do catch the occasional halibut, right, as a bycatch. We don't target them, but the guys who are in this game, like, less than 10 years that are newer, you guys do a great job of managing fish and counting fish and stuff like that, but you're not really paying attention to how much people are paying for these permits. My family's got over $80,000 invested in these permits, and I don't want anything changed. So whatever you guys do with halibut, you need to think about the people who own these rockfish permits that happen to catch these sometimes. It's part of our fish ticket. And so that's kind of why I'm here tonight. I just wanted to add that.
Thank you so much for that. And I'm sorry to cut off. I didn't catch who was coming through moments ago. Welcome you to come through.
Well, I was going to ask if anyone actually knows what the definition of management potentially might be, because there's so much speculation about, permits and this and that. And is there anything even on the board as far as like how it's going to go?
Not that they'll admit.
So appreciating that there is a lot of, fear and concern around this. So I don't want in any way, again, not acknowledge that. Paul, would you be open to sort of reiterating or resharing where the department is currently in terms of considering management for this fishery and ultimately why we're having this conversation today?
Yeah,
that is why we're having this conversation, because we have not decided on any management changes for this halibut fishery. We are starting the process to hear what people have to say, and in the past couple of years, we have gotten quite a few suggestions from fishermen about things they would like to change in the halibut fishery. And many times, there are changes they would like to see other sectors in the fishery undergo, but not their own. And I can understand the reason for that. But we're just kind of taking notes. And as I said before, we have quite a few regulations on the books right now. They seem to be doing a good job in allowing the fishery to fluctuate on its own natural recourse and provide a good income for many people and provide food to the economy. So that's my answer, I guess. I don't dictate policy for the department, obviously. I'm just a scientist.
Thanks, Paul. So just in the interest of time, and certainly if folks want to circle back to this question about sustainability and what sustainability means to you and your experience of sustainability within this fishery, I want to just acknowledge the comment that was made by Chris around the concerns as a rockfish fisherman, halibut being a bycatch species occasionally. Wanted to sort of check in on folks, and maybe Paul, if you could help to tee up the bycatch question, that would be wonderful.
Yes, and that was a good segue, Kelly, in that we want to ask all of you, do you believe bycatch is a concern for the California halibut hook and line fishery, which
no.
You're a part of? And
okay, everyone, I promise we're going to get there. I hear it, and we're going to get there. Don't leave us. Sorry, Paul, go right ahead.
And also, we have an interest in knowing what practices you do to ensure halibut that are sublegal go back to the water with minimum harm.
They never leave the water.
Okay, so we're just going to go through this together. Yep, it's all about, we're going to do this together.
That's what we want to hear. Okay.
Yeah, let's do this together here. So heard from,
and then I was like,
no, hold on one sec. Again, we're just going to be gracious here. We're just, again, don't want to mute folks, and we also need to do this in some sort of orderly fashion. So in terms of just checking up here, heard from Michael Kenny that, does not see a concern with bycatch, came through in that way. Would welcome other folks' thoughts in terms of bycatch, and please identify yourself and we'll go in a queue.
Okay, can I go?
Yes, please go right ahead.
So hook and line in my experience has very little bycatch, and if so, it's usually rockfish here and there, or lingcod, or starry flounder, basic stuff that's released easily with high survival rate, and a lot of times you're in the sandy zones and you're not catching anything else but halibut. So I don't think.
Thank you so much. Great. Thank you so much. I think it's Chris Franks who's the iPhone. Chris, are you there? Am I doing that right?
Yes, that's me.
Please go right ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to add into that the bycatch is pretty much non-existent for the hook line halibut fishing, particularly if it's done with like a little bit of common sense. The one thing I would like to touch on, though, in terms of which I guess falls under bycatch, is the netting of undersized halibut. I think that would be one area that commercial fishermen and definitely the sport fishing could improve on, maybe going to like a netless net so we don't split the tails on the halibut. Anybody that fishes live halibut knows when you split the tails, the survival rate goes down. So that was just something I wanted to throw out there, possibly like a rubber net, not to split the tails for anybody that's netting.
Got it. Thanks so much, Chris.
Chris, could I ask a follow-up question? A netless net, could that be a very small mesh net? And what would that minimum mesh size be, do you think?
Yeah, if I could break in here, yeah. What it is a knotless net. It's a rubber-coated knotless net. I use one of those myself for the sub-legals.
Got it.
It's a knotless net, not a netless net. So you might want to change that, Kelly.
Sure, got it.
And as far as bycatch, it's minimal. It's minimal.
Thanks. Thanks, Eddie. I'm going to go to our queue here. Justin, feel free to come on through.
Yeah, pretty much I couldn't agree more with what's been said, especially the net part. I think the biggest threat we have to our undersized fish, especially in the San Francisco Bay, is how we have an excessive amount of people on charters, sport fishermen, just netting and releasing these shakers at times must be like hundreds per day. And, like Chris Frank said, the split tail reduces the survival rate. It seems like that's the only thing that's, a bycatch risk. But as for us hook and line guys, it's pretty much no bycatch. Our little fish are easily flipped into the boat, unhooked. Most people have a little way they do it. So, like you said, with common sense, there's zero bycatch pretty much.
Great. Thanks so much, Justin. Michael, are you there? Sorry, we just have a queue, and then I would welcome other voices. I have Michael. Come on through.
Can you hear me?
I can, please.
Awesome. I just want to confirm what these guys are saying. When you got a commercial aspect out there, the guys these days, we understand the future of our fishery, so we get really good at releasing bycatch unharmed as best as possible. And I know that for a fact because when we're like even fishing salmon, I catch a lot of fish that have been caught when they were young, and you can see the scar or the piece of the lip that was missing from when they were caught when they were little or whatever. So even the bycatch, even when we do catch bycatch, we're pretty good at releasing them unharmed.
Can you be more specific about? I'm just curious how you do that specifically.
Well, first of all, you don't treat it like a wet rag. I mean, you deal with it with caution, and I mean, accidents do happen, right? I mean, they just do. But when you bring things like that guy was saying, I don't know what his name is, but when you use a net, a lot of times the nets really screw the fish up. Depending on what kind of net you use, and it depends on just how you treat the animal itself. The fish itself has a lot to do with its survivability. So if you treat it with a little bit of respect and you understand that maybe you're going to catch this fish later, you don't want it to go back all beat up. You don't want a sea lion getting it. You don't want it to maim it, and you just want to put it back in the water so that, it makes babies and we have more fish later.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Sorry, Justin, hold on one second. If it was Justin coming through, was there someone else that was trying to come through?
Yeah.
Ed. Yeah.
Okay, I'm hearing two. Eddie, hold on one sec. There's someone else before you.
I just wanted to say that specifically releasing short halibut, there's no reason you need to take them out of the water. If you're fishing from a skiff or a small boat, you can just pop the hook without even taking them out of the water. And most of us that have been doing it long enough can tell the difference between a 22 and a half inch, 23 inch, and something that's not even close to legal. And up in the bay, there's so many short fish. It's you know, you could go through, you know, a lot of fish before you get a legal fish. And like Justin, I think, was saying, a lot of those big sport boats, you have 30 anglers, they're not close enough to the water to be able to do anything but net those little fish to shake them off, which is maybe something that needs to be addressed.
Can you say that one more time, Justin? I just want to make sure I have that right in terms of what you thought could be addressed.
Oh, me or the...
Oh, sorry. There was, the gentleman who was just speaking. I'm sorry. I'm not saying the right name.
About the, how Justin mentioned about the party boats that net all those short fish and then throw them back.
Great. I just wanted to make sure I had it captured. Okay, perfect. Great. So Justin and then Eddie, and then I see Mayra's hand. So please, Justin, go right ahead.
Oh, no, I didn't have anything to say.
Oh, perfect. And thank you for saying things.
I was just agreeing with what someone else said.
Great. Thank you so much. Eddie T?
I was just going to say that in the bay is pretty typical to have a lot of small fish. And as was stated, certain boats do catch a lot and even advertise how many fish that they released up to, you know, over 100 fish sometimes if they say that they released. I think maybe a requirement would be good to have one of those small rubberized nets that they have to use to take and net the fish with. Also, trap rigs using treble hooks for stinger hooks inside the bay may be something that they can consider in a regulatory sense, or even looking at closures of areas. I know I hate to say that, but hey, something to talk about, to take in areas that are specifically or customary to have small fish, maybe to take and consider closing those particular geographies. I think I've expressed that in the past, looking at areas like below the Bay Bridge and above the San Rafael Bridge.
Okay, hold on one sec. Don't leave me. Hold on one sec. I'm so sorry. I see hands raised, and I also want to honor that voice. Ed, just to make sure, below the Bay Bridge and above which?
San Rafael Bridge.
San Rafael Bridge. Got it.
But not just close them. I mean, saying it's closed to halibut fishing, except close the fishing, except for shore-based angling, herring, and also live bait gathering.
Yep. Got it. Allow. Don't leave me. Hold on one sec. Thank you so much for your patience, everyone. I have Mayra, I have Justin, and then who is the voice that's trying to come through? Okay, we will come back to you, fabulous voice.
Oh,
Mayra,
one more point, since you're writing this down. Also, using single hooks and not using treble hooks inside the bay. That's just something else you can think about. I'm throwing this stuff out there. Just,
yep.
You know, this is not some big deal. I'm just throwing this stuff out there.
Yep. Got it. Mayra, please go right ahead. Let me try and help. Unmute. Are you there, Mayra? I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong. It might be Myra. I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong. Okay, while we work that out, Justin, please go right ahead.
I just had a comment on the treble hooks. So I pretty much only troll fish. All my fish are captured with a trap rig, treble hook, and when they eat it on the troll, they don't swallow the hook. When you're fishing a decent sized treble hook and you're moving, usually the fish aren't, in my experience, ever hooked deep. I'd say 95% of my fish are hooked so gently that I can just put my pliers in and pop the hook right out. As for drifting with the trap rigs, I can see how that could be problematic.
Got it.
This is Ed again. I would agree with that.
Ed, hold on. Don't leave me. I really want to honor the queue here, so don't leave me 1 second. I just want to make sure I have this down here. So limited removal of hook. And then also if there was, again, just to make sure I have this right, you were talking about if there was the ability, and I'm not going to say it right, but if there were like hooks that were moving through the water, is that what I'm understanding you saying?
Yeah, I troll fish for them, and I'm honestly mostly fishing inside the Bay Bridge and above the San Rafael is where I do a lot of my angling. But to add to that, the treble hooks with the trap rig, when you're troll fishing, the fish are almost always hooked in the corner of the mouth. We don't have very many fish swallow the whole hook.
Got it. Got it.
More reaction bite.
Got it.
Yep.
Got it. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for your patience. Ed, please come on through.
Yeah, I would agree with that as far as trolling and the hooks. Yeah, they just basically grab the back But have you ever tried trolling with a single hook with a stinger?
Got it. And you're saying then, Ed, for the trolling, the single hooks with hooks, oh gosh, hooks.
No. Trolling for halibut
Yeah.
with stinger hooks that are treble hooks.
Oh, stinger.
Stinger hooks, which are treble. That's
Thank
like
you.
the hook in the
Stinger
back
and
of the
single, they sound kind of right.
You have a single hook ahead of a treble hook.
Got it.
And
Yep, exactly.
Thank you. And so you're suggesting that that is a good way to fish, that's best practices in terms of fishing and reducing impact to the fish.
The problem
Well,
with
that's
that
pretty
would be,
common practice.
the problem with standard practice, I agree. But
Okay, this is Paul. May I ask Justin if that's the way you troll? Justin, do you have a stinger hook as well as a treble hook?
Oh, I have a single hook followed by a treble hook that goes into the back of the bait.
Okay.
Most of the fish are hooked on the treble hook because the halibut come up and they grab the bait and they get hooked, with the treble.
Right. Paul, the stinger hook is the treble at the back. The single hook is forward and the treble hook is back, and that's the stinger hook, the treble
Okay,
hook.
it's the
Can you guys see this?
stinger and single are hard to
Yeah,
sometimes-
please.
Can you
I
see?
I can stop the share. Hold on one second. Let me do this here.
There you go.
I think we can, does that help? Do folks see that?
For the moderators that are confused, this is the trap rig that they're talking about.
Got it. Got it.
Treble hook in the back, single hook in the front.
Yep.
Right.
That is it. That's correct.
Thank you so much. Thanks for your patience, everyone. We're here to learn with you all. I want to check in with Bill, and then I'd love to move on to the next question. We have about 8 minutes or so left in this room. We want to get to the 2 more questions if we can. Bill, please go right ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, well, basically with the trap rigs, the treble hook, if it's like a size 14, that's where you get into the problem. But most of the guys that are trolling, we use a bigger treble. Where the treble gets into trouble is when you're just drifting and using a little tiny treble hook with the in the anchovy. You're using a sardine or something like that. You need a bigger treble. It's when you get down to those really tiny trebles, and I don't think most of the guys up there use the really tiny trebles, but I think that's what they're talking about. The guys out there just drifting and just having to pull the guts out of the small fish because they swallow them right down. They let them swallow it. So anyway, it's just the size that really matters.
Got it. Got it.
Kelly, if I can make an observation, I think many of the responses to this question relate to question 4. So I think that we just stuck with question 3
Wonderful.
to hear about people's thoughts on changing ocean conditions. That would be most helpful.
Wonderful. Let's go there, Paul. Please take us there.
Okay, so this question that we asked before, as I said, is how, if at all, are changing ocean conditions in the past 20 years impacting the California halibut fishery? And this could be good or bad.
Lots from folks. Feel free to raise your hand or come on through, and I'll track the queue.
Okay, I'll come through with that.
Please.
Paul, I've been out on that ocean for a long, long time, and I have to say that the dynamics of the ocean change so constantly every year, even hour by hour. Tides come in, tides go out, but it's constantly changing. How has it affected the halibut fishery? I really couldn't tell you, honest to God. I can't say that this year, like we had earlier in the year, the water was super cold, but now it's really, really warm. But is it really affecting the halibut fishery economically? I can't really tell you that is what's doing it. So to say climate change is affecting the fishery, I can't really tell you that for sure.
Thanks so much. Oh, hold on. Don't leave me. We have Chris Franks, then Chris Pavone, Bill James, and I don't know, Lucas, if you want to come through too, but I can put you in the queue. Let's start with Chris Franks.
Yeah, I was just going to touch on what Eddie said, is that and I feel like this gets lost a lot of time with like biologists and scientists and fishermen, is that fish, they go on cycles in the ocean. So it's like really hard to predict over like a relatively short period of time, like 20 years, what's really associated with what. But if you were going to push like the global warming issue, I would say, generally speaking, warmer water in the wintertime is definitely favorable for spawning conditions. And so that would be helping us.
Thanks so much, Chris. Chris Pavone?
Yeah, I was just going to add here at Port San Luis, we've also got the fiber optic cables, and those installations happen every few years, and usually the halibut get freaked out for a few years, and now we're dealing with wind as well. So the increased traffic at the ports and dredging and all the big boats and the pounding, and you know, so this has an effect as well.
Got it. Bill James? And I'll ask you to unmute, Bill. Are you there?
Okay, yeah. At Port San Luis, it's just a changing condition, not necessarily an ocean condition, but we have so many more sea lions now. The last time I was there, I actually saw them actually eating halibut in the bay. So that's really been a problem lately. For the halibut to come in real shallow, they can't come into the bay. They're eaten right away. So it's not a ocean, but it is a natural phenomenon in too many sea lions.
Got it. Thanks, Bill. Other folks' thoughts? I'm sorry, Lucas, I don't know if you're meeting to come through or not, but just check in to see if other folks want to share anything more around changing ocean conditions or other impacts to the California halibut fishery. Please, Lucas, go right ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, Chris Franks touched on what I was going to talk about, I mean, with warmer ocean conditions, it's only going to benefit the spawning in winter. We're not really seeing an ill effect to the fishing now in the warm water, on the short term at least.
Got it.
I wanted to mention.
Please go right ahead.
I think we're on an uptick of as far as feed and cycles, anchovies, sardines, squid, everything's like super abundant this year and last year. As far as diversity and cycles of bait fish and more back out of the El Nino and into a more normal cycle, which seems like it's making it a healthier fishery.
Fantastic. So I just want to honor that we're going to be wrapping up here in the next minute or so. Justin, would you like to come through briefly?
Oh, yeah. I just wanted to say that I agreed a lot on the warm cycle being very beneficial to our fishery in the short term.
Wonderful. Thank you. And Chris?
It wasn't really part of the questions, but I just wanted to touch on and get it in the notes here, just the misuse of the commercial fishing license, which a lot of us sort of refer to as sport commercial, with people buying the license to use to get extra rods or to sell fish under market value just to pay for their fuel. People that don't really have any skin in the game. I feel like that is one of the largest issues that we face right now from a fisherman's perspective and from a fish buyer's perspective.
Agreed.
Really appreciate you mentioning that, and thank you. We have heard that before, and really happy to capture it here. Appreciate the opportunity to capture it here. Paul, anything as we're in our last 30 seconds here, anything else to say out loud on your end? And please, folks, if you have things you'd like to contribute that you weren't able to say out loud, send us either a message via email or a chat, and we'll get it into the notes. Please, Paul, anything else on your end?
No, I think this was a great spirited discussion. I really appreciate everybody's input, so thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. In 10 seconds, anything else if somebody wanted to come through?
Don't close the bay. I fish Alameda mostly every day, and that would